Hey everyone, today we're in chapter 15 and we're talking about personal pronouns, specifically first and second person pronouns. Okay, and these forms are on your book, or in your book, excuse me, on page 176. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first person pronoun. Okay, in order to do this, I'm going to set up a declension chart with all 5 cases, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative. And I'm going to have a singular and a plural. Okay, so the singular goes like this. Ego, which we've seen before, which we know means I. And then the genitive is mei, so ego, mei, mihi is dative. Accusative is me, like me in English, and ablative is also me. So it goes ego, mei, mihi, me, me. It's really fun to say fast. Ego, mei, mihi, me, me. And then in the plural changes to nos, N-O-S, so it's nos, and then the genitive actually has 2 forms. There's nostrum, and there's also nostri, and I'm going to explain later in the chapter why there are 2 different forms for the genitive. Okay, the dative is nobis. The accusative is nos, so the nominative and the accusative are the same. And the ablative is nobis. Okay, so the plural is nos, nostrum, or nostri, nobis, nos, nobis. And so, of course, each of these forms has a translation. I'm going to go through the translations real quick. So, ego, of course, is I. Mei would be of me. Mihi, to or for me. We've had mihi before in previous chapters. Me is me as like a direct object, like you see me or you know me. And the ablative me is just the standard ablative translations: by, with, from, insert random preposition. It takes the ablative me. Okay, nos, the plural, the subject is we. Okay, the genitive nostrum or nostri is going to be of, us. Dative nobis would be to or for us. Nos, the accusative, is us. So it's important to distinguish between the nominative nos, the subject, and the accusative nos, the direct object. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of that in a second. And then the ablative, of course, by, with, from, us. Okay, so now that we've declined the first person pronoun, I'm going to give you some examples. And we've had, sort of sprinklings of these in the book before. We've had ego, and we've had mihi, and we've had me, and we've even had nos, but I don't think we've had the others. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of those. Okay. Okay, here's a sentence that has a personal pronoun nobis. Okay, and of course this could be dative or ablative, and the big clue that it's dative is dedit, right? A form of do, which means it's an indirect object. So meus pater, my father, dedit, gave, dona, gifts, nobis, to us. Okay, so here is our personal pronoun. Also, it's important to note that the ablative forms, so ablative forms are enclitic with cum. So here's an example. I would say me cum with me. So the cum becomes an enclitic, like que would be an enclitic or ne would be enclitic. I can't say cum me. That's a no, right? So the cum has to be enclitic. Same thing with the plural forms. So if I said nobis cum, that would be with us. I couldn't say cum nobis. So with the personal pronouns with first and second person, the cum is actually enclitic. Okay, so let's now look at the second person pronoun. Okay, and we'll again set up our chart with our 5 cases. Okay, we've got a singular and a plural. Okay, the nominative is tu, which we've seen before. Tui, tibi, te, te. And again, it's really fun if you say it fast. Tu, tui, tibi, te, te. Tu, tui, tibi, te, te. Looks a lot like the first person. Ego, mei, mihi, me, me. You can see how they're parallel. Okay, and in the plural of tu is wos, means you all, wos. And then the genitive also has 2 forms in the plural, westrum and also westri. Okay, make note of that vowel shift from an O to an E, right? It's not wostrum, but it's westrum, westrum and westri. Then it goes back to an O, wobis, wos, wobis. Okay, and the translations are all similar. So tu is you, tui, of you, tibi, 2 or 4, you, and we've had tibi before. Te, you as a direct object, and the ablative, of course, by, with, from, you. Usually that'll be with a preposition. Okay, wos, you all. Of course, this is all is understood in the plural. Westrum would be of you. Wobis, 2 or 4. You, wos you as a direct object, and wobis by, with, or from you. Okay, now that we've looked at both first and second person, I should tell you about the genitive plural forms. So nostrum and westrum are used for partitive genitive. Remember we learned partitive genitive last chapter. So for instance, you would say something like pars nostrum, and that would be part of us. Okay, or you would say something like satis vestrum. And that would be enough of you. Okay, so that's what the forms are used for, nostrum and westrum. The forms nostri and westri are used for what's called the objective genitive. And we haven't talked about this yet. We're actually going to talk about it in the next lecture, so I'm going to hold off on the explanation of that until we talk about objective genitive. But just know that the nostri and the westri are used for objective genitive. Okay, and the final thing to say about this is, just like in the first person, the second person forms in the ablative use cum as an enclitic. So te cum would be with you, and vobis cum would be with you all, or just with you. You may be familiar with the Latin phrase pax vobiscum, which means peace be with you. Okay, and so vobis, that's why it's vobis cum, because these pronouns, first and second person, attach cum as an enclitic in the ablative forms. Okay, and that's it for this talk. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.